couple people are getting on to me last week about, where's the intro? But here's the intro, innit? I'm AJAY, and today we got two special guests. I'll let them introduce themselves.
Cool. Mr. Zek Snaps, the one and only, you know, bad boy photographer, shooter of all shooters. So, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, FSHR, music journalist and producer.
Yeah,
Road to Success EP out now.
I
Just
make
thought
sure
I'd
you
get a plug in
download
done.
that, bruv.
Yeah, support
Make sure
that,
you
innit?
download that. Beats for days, bruv. But yeah, let's get into it then. So, when I was looking through Twitter the other day, Lethal B must have tweeted something interesting. He was saying that basically all the UK artists should link up and do a world tour. So what he said was something along the lines of the UK should use what WizKid did with Afro Republic as the kind of blueprint for it, and he was like Stormzy and Skepta headlining. But that idea of a UK world tour is mad. Like how would that even work?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't work.
You don't think it'd work?
Short answer, it wouldn't work, man. It's just there'll be too many people to get involved and too many schedules to reorganize and try and make it fit. I mean, it's a great idea in theory, but logistically, I don't see any way it could work, really.
I was thinking, like, when it comes to the actual event itself, yeah, and set times and that, how would that even work? Like, because let's say I'm a rapper, yeah. If I got booked for that tour, but they were telling me, you're gonna do the set where people aren't even in the venue yet, or you're gonna open up, kind of thing. But my man over here, he's gonna steal the show later on with a big bad boy performance. But you do the opening thing. I might feel some type of way about it. Like, how, with all those different egos and personalities, yeah, how would you fit all of that into like one tour?
Boy, when it comes to the events game, the UK struggle a lot in it at times. And I've been there and seen everything. And there is a lot of egoism within the scene that people have certain preferences of when they want to perform and what time this person wants to go on and that. I feel like it's all about infrastructure and understanding each other's ways of what's going to pop off and what's not going to pop off.
In his original tweet, yeah, Lethal was saying Afro Republic is the blueprint. Now, when I looked at that, yeah, I looked at the lineup, and I could be wrong here, but as far as I'm aware, like when I looked at the lineup in the months leading up to the event, it was sold as WizKid, Mr. Easy,
Malik Berry,
and Young Bane,
Malik Berry,
and I think Malik and
T.Y. Savage.
But the point I'm making is those people came, but they didn't get announced till much later. So a big bulk of the tickets were sold on the basis of people saying, look, here's a concert with just these three artists. We're going to add more, but these three are enough to sell the tickets. So if that was a UK thing, like if this was UK World Tour and it was like, Skepta, Lethal, Stormzy and Gigs.
Let me cut you in on that quickly,
as
bro.
the main selling points. But yeah, go on.
Let me cut you in. Do you know who used to do that brilliantly back in the day? Eskimo Dance. Eskimo used to announce the headline act, Wiley plus special guests. Then they announce the smaller ones later, the ones that hype it up a bit. Then they announce the secret special guest. I think Eskimo was such a perfect platform for making those transitions happen, because the way they were organised back in the day and the way they popped off things was incredible. Like when I was at last year, the SSE Arena show they had, 12,500, like that was monumental for grime. So it's something like Eskimo, which, okay, in reality, grime, when it comes to like shows, grime is very hard to organise because promoters and that are a bit iffy with when it comes to like grime and that. But what I'm saying is, if someone like Eskimo had that indulgence and power to move forward, especially in someone like SSE Wembley Arena, I feel like a world tour can happen. But it's just about who you bring on, the organisation skills, and promoters. Are you going to sell that brand to someone like a Live Nation, where they organise extra ticket sales and promotion, and they organise the set times and that for you to prioritise everything correctly? See, this is the thing. I feel like this is the time where the people like the Live Nations and the SJMs, they're good, but I feel like it's time where the country takes a bit of extra step and dictate that movement a bit. Because
would it really be like a world tour though? Because like, let's say that it gets announced and it's all getting promoted around 3 artists. Essentially, it's not a UK world tour. It's a 3 biggest artists tour plus smaller artists. If you see what I mean, like I only feel like it's a world tour if there's a bit of equal standing in terms of the acts. If it's a thing where it's like you said there, like Eskimo Dance, there'd be the headliner, or just in other shows there's the headliner and then there's smaller ones. It kind of feels more like it's not a UK world tour, quote unquote, but more of a Stormzy, Skepta, gigs / whatever big artist that you put in that small group of names, isn't it?
And to be fair, like, because Lethal B's coined the idea, I imagine he wants to be a big part of it. But really, if you think about, obviously he's got a legendary status in the game, and rightly so. But if you think about the most popular artist right now in UK music, I wouldn't put him in the top 5. You know what I mean? Just based on music. Obviously, he's gone outside of music and made a whole brand with the whole Dench thing or whatever. But
Lethal.
I would say he might not be current, but like because what he does, like he's always relevant. Like there's never a period where he goes too quiet that we think he's fallen off. Like he's consistent with like his moves. Like he released Aftershave. He's got Dench.
Well,
like
that's
you
what
said.
I'm saying. In terms of a brand, but
hard.
This is not a brand world tour. This is a music world tour, isn't it?
But I feel like you tend to forget Lethal has shut down arenas. Lethal has done festivals. Lethal performed on Mainstage Wireless last minute for Wiley, and he done a madness. Lethal was about to go on tour with 50 Cent and G Unit. So no matter how much Lethal hasn't released music, the guy is still relevant towards the UK.
He's got enough bangers there.
And people look up to him because he was one of the first guys from the hood alongside Wiley, Dizzy Rascal and Crazy Titch that came from that East London sector, and all of those 4 blew up from that genre where grime was on the come up, especially where grime was just building its own source of element in terms of like the rawness, the passion within it, the the straight bar to bar repetitive back to back flows type of thing. So
how should we then decide it? Because obviously there's loads of things to consider. Like Lethal obviously coined the idea, but then you've got like Stormzy's and Skepta, like them man, they're obviously like top of the game kind of thing. Like how do we decide it? Is it a fan vote? Do we employ like you said, a Live Nation? Is it an artist that decides it? Like who decides which artists go on the tour and for how long they go on the tour?
But this is why I don't think it will work long term. Like if you actually try and sort out these little bits.
Do you think a public vote could work? Like let's say, I don't know, GRM or Link Up or Plugsville or one of them. One of them was like did some kind of massive public survey, but then essentially that would just make it a popularity contest rather than here's the best selection of UK music.
I feel like it can work around the world, but I think London will be the most difficult show. Who do you bring out? Who do you fall back and make someone sad? And who do you bring on? Because I'm telling you, there's gonna be it's true though. You're gonna have someone who's going to be sulky and someone who's going to backchat behind the whole thing. Be like, oh, I've done so many favours for this person, but when it came to this time, I never got on. Like, you know how the industry goes. Because I feel like London will be the most difficult one. How do you build a grand finale? Like with Birmingham, as I said, Birmingham, Manchester, you can get away because you can follow the way Eskimo done it. You can still have gigs, Skepta and Stormzy headlining it. Secret guest could be Lady Leisha.
The major.
Special guest can be JK and Lot of Boys Are Missed. And then opening acts could be someone like K2 from Birmingham and someone like Daps on the Map.
Alright, well how about this, let me put this to you lot. What do you think, the last, because you know at concert, generally speaking, like the last songs you hear are the biggest bangers, right? So for this world tour, what do you think the 3 final songs of this whole thing should be? And that's a mad question, because when you think of how many different people have got loads of bangers, and to just pick 3 is mad. But
Powell's definitely gonna be one of them.
Powell's
definitely
KMT.
No, I would say Whipping Excursion over KMT, you know, just because Whipping Excursion is like fully our
anthem. I've got a thing.
KMT's got Drake in it, so
but I've got a thing though. Imagine if Drake's in the country when that happens.
Jesus.
Yeah, but if you know what, yeah, I'm a big
what are
fan
you
of Drake.
proposing?
But if this is a UK world tour,
Yeah, man, we don't need to bring Drake
I
in
don't.
this
I don't
one.
want to
Yeah.
see any non-UK
Unless we go
acts, to be
Canada.
honest.
If we do it in Canada, that would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if it's just like, oh, man are in Berlin or Milan and Drake pops out of nowhere, it's like, bruv, ain't this a UK thing?
Yeah, but
Like,
that's what I'm saying. But I feel like, yeah, Pow, Whipping Excursion, Shutdown.
I would say Whipping Excursion for sure.
Shutdown for Skepta.
Well,
And for Stormzy, I'd say Shut Up.
So your three are Power, Shutdown, and Shut Up.
Yeah, I'd
Hey,
say so.
one question. We just reel it up a little bit, yeah? Is Dizzy Rascal on this thing? Because
But
in
remember,
theory, he
if-
has to be.
Bro, we
but
still ain't decided the lineup,
logistically-
remember? So
but
anyone's
let's
on this
think,
team
if
right
this-
now.
But you got to remember, there's politics.
But this is what I'm saying. But
If
Dizzy
Dizzy
Rascal has
does
to be on it.
come, then Wiley's going to be on there.
Well, this is what I'm saying. But if you're doing this UK tour thing and you really want it to be a full representation of the UK scene and its history, Dizzy Russell has to be there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like
And there's got to be a way for artists to somehow be like, oh, even though we've had problems for years, now we're gonna put it
See,
aside.
only money
just
can
for-
only money
yeah,
can
money
do
talks,
that. innit?
Yeah,
money
only
can do
okay.
that, and big
I don't
money.
think that will work with the drill artists section, but when it comes, no, but it's true. It's true. It's true. I feel like with the drill stuff, it won't work. But yeah, definitely. I feel like the grime lot, they would understand because everyone's grown up. Everyone's starting to understand the topics and like.
Not too long ago, Dizzy and Wiley. were going
No,
back
but
and
Wiley
forth on
wanted to
Twitter,
bless it though. Let's not forget, Wiley last year tweeted and he said to Dizzy,
In his book as well, there's like a little chapter on Dizzy as well where he's like
Mm.
bigging him up.
someone like Lethal could maybe make
try and
things
be the
happen.
middleman.
Yeah, I feel like we
Yeah.
need some mediators like Lethal because
Well,
Lethal
yeah.
often tweets stuff like offering advice to artists or reaching out to this person, that
Yeah.
person. So we need some mediators on
How
this.
much money do you think this idea could generate?
See, that's the thing. What kind of... Because when it comes to world tour, yeah, technically speaking, like, you could go do a show in front of 10 people in 10 different countries and quote-unquote, it would be a world tour. Only 10 people in the room, though. So how... In terms of venue size, what kind of venues do you think these men would hit with this world tour? Are we talking, like, couple hundred, thousands, tens of thousands? Like, where's the range?
I mean, it's a good question, but the reason I bring up the money situation is not because like the actual total of how much money it can generate, but in terms of you're gonna have to pay these artists to get involved, innit? And is there enough money going to be generated for it to trickle down to everyone that's involved? Because obviously, first of all, you're going to think of the big people involved, and they're going to take a bigger chunk than the people at the bottom.
See, that's another thing as well. You know, we're saying some people don't want to be, I don't want to open. I want to be the one that closes it off. Some people are also going to be like, like, what? I'm only getting X amount, but he's getting like 6 times more. But he's only doing one more song than me. Like, how does that work? Like, people will be kind of.
I feel like that wouldn't come to the older representatives of artists, like the gigs and that. I feel like it'll be down to more the young ones. I think like the young ones has a bit of an extra ego within them. Why do I get paid for this because I've got 1 million hits on this song? Like some run through their own. It runs through their veins and it runs through their, how should I say, brain, where they think about that consciously.
Yeah.
But in terms of like venue space and arena, I think if they're doing the UK one first, they can definitely do 10,000 plus. Like,
Yeah.
You think they could do O2?
yeah.
But you know what I think the
110%.
question is like, I don't think it's like under question that if they came together in the UK, like they would sell out. But if they came together, let's say they went Paris.
Yeah, so that's the question.
Then where?
The
Like, what
international
venue they
side,
hitting?
it all depends. I feel like you got to remember where certain artists' songs are most popped off by. So, example, as I said, Japan, their love for grime is massive. Amsterdam, sorry, as in Holland, their love
Hold
for...
on, I didn't even. Is this a grime thing then? That like what are we including all genres of
No,
UK
definitely
music,
all
or is it
genres.
We're
just-
gonna have to.
All genres. I feel like all genres, but it has to be genres where those genres pop off in certain countries. So as I said, Japan are massive in future wave and grime. Holland, they're massive in grime, Afro swing,
They
and
love
Afro
their drill
beats,
as well.
and they love their drill. Paris, they definitely love their drill. They love the Afro swing and the Afro beats, and they start to understand the future wave scene and grime a bit more because guys like Octavian and that are start to open the scene up a bit there.
What about beyond Europe though? Because you see with Europe, I would say like grime and UK music in general is beginning. It's long been spreading in Europe. Like Frisco done a show in Stuttgart the other day, like with the Den. Like there's different instances of different UK artists going to Europe. But I feel like the challenge is with this world tour is how do we hit, if it's going to be a world tour and not a European tour, how do we hit continents where it's almost like we're heading into the unknown? Like how would we put shows on in big venues in Asia or Africa or Australia or them places? Like, you know what I mean? Like in Europe, I feel like there's a lot of love for UK music in Europe, but do you man feel that the love that European countries show to the UK scene would translate strongly to other continents as well?
Yeah, it's just about research. Like for an instant, look at what Michael Dapper and Gigs done at New Zealand, the way they shut down that festival. Same likewise with Dave. Dave sold out a whole tour in Canada and America, and AJ Tracy as well. And that's when they were halfway.
I think AJ Tracy went in Australia
through the come up as well. Yeah, AJ done that. Stormzy, because I know a very talented artist from Australia called Manda the Crook. He was on tour with Stormzy in Australia. He was telling me, bro, the reception Stormzy had was insane. He said, I've never seen a black artist from another country get shown incredible love from a country that's full of like indigenous people that are racist.
You know.
And it's mad. It's mad. Like I've even seen like footages where Stormzy, when he's performing Shut Up and tunes like Cold and that, the Australians were going nuts. And I was like to myself, cool. So this is where research and statistics get involved. You need to look upon levels where what certain places in that country or city has shown love previously. Who do you take previously from certain artists that you can retake and give them a full set? So as I said, like Japan, Kojo's already got a song out there with Bugsy Malone, and I don't know. I think recently there was a thing where most of that retweet or the song was second trended on Japan in YouTube.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it all depends on the research and what you conduct out of the research in order to know what type of artist you'll take on that specific city and who would bang there in terms of the love, the fan base, and who's doing well out there.
When you say research, I definitely agree with that. And I'd say, like, I think we live in a time now in the music game where there's so much of that research available. So you can even go on Instagram and profile like how many of your followers are in this country. You can do the same on like YouTube, Spotify. The resources exist to put it together. Like in theory, it should be able to work, but it's like, if we had to say, do you think this world tour will ever happen? What we saying? Do you think it will, or do you think it's just like a interesting pipe dream kind of thing?
I don't think it will. I think there's too many permutations that have to be sorted out, and that will take time. And the longer it takes, the more, because people aren't just like, artists aren't just standing still waiting for this to happen. They got their own schedules years in advance, innit? You know what I mean? Like, they know what they're doing in the next 12 months.
I'd say the only way this could work is if they start it and plan it from now and do it in like the next 2-3 years in winter term. I don't think it'll work in summer. Summer, the projects, labels are onto their artists about what single and next EP or something they're onto. Summer's when things kick off, and that's when you get the best out of that artist. Winter is where it's kind of chilling season, but some artists still tour within that certain sector of winter. So I feel like, preparation from now is key. Build the right team and get the right promoters behind you. So example, if you're doing this world tour, definitely you could bring like an Eskimo Dance alongside with Live Nation and someone else that does events. I feel like you need more events people involved that have major experience within it and have major experience with artists, and some that are ready to do like stuff outside, because Eskimo have done stuff outside of the UK. Same with the Den and other stuff like that, and I feel like that's what is needed. Boy Better Know in general have done stuff outside of the UK, so it's just about organisation and priorities.
I would say like the key factor here is, like you said, Nathan, like money, innit? Like I feel like there must be like an optimum kind of level between the point where this is financially worthwhile that you'll say, okay, even though I want to tour the world on my own one day, I'll kind of put all that aside and join up with you lot. But for me to want to do that, we have to be going to venues that are big enough that we're going to actually impact like the culture out there. Because I don't think there'll be much point in doing it if you're only hitting like small venues. Like if you're going to another city, we need to find a way to make this UK world tour the biggest show in that city on that day. It can't just be like one of 5 or some random thing that only a niche audience are going to. We need to, if it's a thing where we can make it like you go Milan, you go, I don't know, Mumbai, like wherever, Accra, like you just go places, you go there and you make sure that it's the biggest kind of show on that day, big enough venue. I think it can work if the money's right. But if the money's not right, like you said, like some of these artists are going to cost like a lot to book. Just in general, so as well as them and all the others, there might not be enough money generated to give them all what they want.
I got a personal question for everyone actually. It's just obviously it's a surreal question, so it's just out of imagination. So number 1, where do you think the grand finale should be at if it did happen? What city?
Let's take London out. Like, let's just not say London because that's the obvious answer, isn't it? If it's not London,
no. Okay, you say London. This is another question where I think this is.
Wait, are you saying where do you think the grand finale should be, assuming that they end the tour back in the UK?
Or no, just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say the biggest or most iconic venue. Like, let's say for example, it's obviously quite a bit of a reach, but let's say like they had a chance to go, I don't know, Staples Center, or for whatever reason they could get a show at Madison Square Gardens. If you could secure, obviously that's like.
Some WrestleMania stuff.
I like to say WrestleMania, but if that could happen, like if you could get a venue that was just massive, I'd say like the biggest show.
Yeah,
I'd
say definitely it will make sense. I feel like America will make somewhere like America will make sense for that, because now Americans are like having a good connection with the UK.
More receptive to
it. And they're more acceptance. There's more acceptance within it, and that both scenes are happening. Because I feel like if they did it in the US. Grand finale like Madison Square Garden or the Barclays Center,
it would be a mad thing.
It would be crazy. So because I know people like ASAP Rocky would come out.
Yeah.
People like who else as well?
Drake might come true.
But hold on, you know, with that, it's like because this is the whole point of this is like this is a UK world tour. The minute you start bringing out artists, even though you're going to their city, it allows it takes the focus away from UK. Like say you go to New York and ASAP comes out and all people remember is ASAP. That detracts from the point.
You can just do that one song and
but remember tunes like Praise the Lord is more
that's like, more grimy than
it's been nominated on GRM Awards for Best Video.
Okay, that's one award. I mean,
and
that's
KMT
one,
was
not. I mean, that's one song. But let's say you go, I don't know, Houston, and you bring out Travis Scott. Like, where's the connection there between Travis Scott and if the person's like ASAP is, if he's like works with UK artists, I can maybe see it. But if it's a case where we're going like just to bring out the most popular act in that city, I think that defies the point.
That would have made sense. But what I'm saying is, it has to make sense in terms of like who's got what. Like if where's 2 Chainz from?
Atlanta.
Yeah, so if Giggs goes Atlanta, he'll bring out 2 Chainz for Ultimate Gangster. Then you would have Lil Yachty come out with a song with Steph London. Then you would have Skepta bring up Playboy
Only
Carti.
If they've done songs.
This is what I think. Atlanta will be a good city because Atlanta has a lot of connections with our scene. I've like New York as well, but it's about who we bring out that shows respect and
to where you
what
are.
you call it and love from another city and another country. So that'd be like, you know what? Like, whoa! Like, I never knew the UK could be at a certain level where they're bringing out other artists from other countries. Because whenever American artists come here, they bring out people from our country.
Yeah, but that's the thing. American artists, I can't recall too many like music groups or whatever coming together for a scene-wide world tour. If it's one artist, I completely get them bringing it out. But if it's a world tour with bare artists, I would say, look, there's so many of us here. We got so much music to perform that why are we bringing these others out?
Shall I give you a defined example? That was a very good show last year, and it brought out the whole UK together. With Canada was Smoke Dogg's headline show. So for those who wasn't there, but a lot of people were, Smoke Dogg had a headline show. Oh, by the way, R.I.P. to Smoke Dogg. May God bless you, because the guy is such a good loving character. and he gave me the opportunity to shoot that show. So with Smoke Dog's headline show, what I loved about it was the cultural acceptance of bringing everyone together and the unity. So he brought out Section Boys, he brought out Skepta, he brought out Nath Smalls, Chip, K Coke, yes, K Blimmy Coke, Gigs. Who else was there? Black the Ripper, and he brought out Drake as special guest. Do you know the amount of power and unity was on that day? And I feel like if someone can do that in a venue like XOYO, for God's sake, XOYO, we can do it. But it's just about how smart are you to do it. And people saw that as more of a UK show rather than a Canadian show.
If we were doing a world tour and we went to Toronto, there is absolutely no question that Drake is gonna
not even just Drake.
I'm down, but just not for mad long, just not for like 30 minutes and that. Just one.
No. I don't think that's what. This is how I think they should do it. As I said to you, I don't AJ. And no. But as I said to you,
as I said to you personally,
but as I said to you last week, if artists are gonna do that, bring them out as your special guest on your set for one song.
Yeah.
Something like that would perfectly work.
Because
that's what Carti done at his headline show. He brought a Skepta for that one tune, and everyone went haywire.
Yeah.
So stuff like that would totally make sense.
But I've been enough shows where people bring out people and the special guest is like, yeah, do 2-3 songs. It's like, bro, I didn't pay to see the guest. I want one song from the guest. I came to see you, brother. Like, you do your thing.
Do you know what it would? Okay, how it would be down to this is like this. I say the 3 main headline acts, whoever it is, I think they can bring up one special guest on their set, but I think they can perform the tune they have with them, and if they're cheeky enough and they got time,
one of their bangers.
Yeah. Because that would make sense. I think that would be fair. I think that's the balance. Because I think that's what will make it more sensible towards the crowd.
True. For example, if you went Toronto and you got Drake to do,
you can't bring out Drake.
That would be a moment.
Like KMT, then God's Plan. Straight, that would work.
But not every artist gets to do one of their songs. Only
it
if
has
you're
to be
like Drake, WizKid kind of thing.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be mainly for the headline acts.
Yeah.
The headline acts can dictate that. I feel like with the opening acts, they just have to do their own set, unfortunately, and do what they need to do in order to get the crowd going.
You know what? If I was like organising it, I would. Maybe this is naive of me, but I would do it in a way where there's no sets. I would literally like create it in a way
like
where
a freestyle thing.
It's bangers. It's like when I say no sets, I mean there's no like set times. There'll still be like sets, like whatever, but it should be done in terms of bangers and instrumentals.
But you don't want it to be...
you want it to be like an old school grime? Like...
Yeah, like not artists. I just want it done in like smallest bangers first, and gradually we work up. Smallest instrumentals first, and gradually we work up to the ones that get man going nuts, and we get them at the end. Rather than AJ Tracy, you do the start. Stormzy, you do the end. Dave, you do this bit. It would be more like...
But you don't want it to be a thing where it's going to be like a little cypher thing, and then people are going to be like, yo, let me perform my tune. Let me go ahead of you, man.
You can structure and rehearse that in a way where it's just smooth.
Trust me, there's no structure to it. Especially in the UK, they don't understand structure with that.
For example,
no, I mean, you can structure in a way where you don't have to plan who spits what, but you just say, look, we're going to have a little, 15 minutes. I don't know what's going to happen, but man, them, do your thing. We don't need to say, you spit for this long, but after that 15 minutes, man, them know to stop kind of thing.
This is where I think the Smoke Dog show is a great example, because he just kept bringing on one person after another. Like, he got Nath Smalls as the opening act, but then Nath Smalls brought on Chip, brought on Black the Ripper, and then after when Smoke Dog came on, he randomly brought on K Coke, Gigs, Section Boys, and then obviously it was like more of a freestyle thing, and it worked. I'll give him that. Like, it seriously worked. In under curfew, where the curfew was about 12 p.m. And especially to bring out those amount of artists, I think Smoke Dog show was a good defined example of that. So I feel like that type of way, I get where you're coming from, but I feel like, as I said, it depends on the egoism of the UK artist and all of that. Because
I feel like this would help to remove the ego from it. If you said like Stormzy, you might do, I don't know, Cold at the start, but you're going to end with Shut Up and Blinded by Your Grace or Big for Your Boots or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you structure it in a way where, but then again, this comes down to who decides that. Like, who gets allocated to say whose bangers are this big or that big or this popping, that popping. Like, who actually, because obviously everyone's going to think, if I'm an artist, I'm going to think, I don't just have one banger. Everything I do is cold. Like I'm a hit maker. You know what I mean? Like everyone's gonna think they've got bangers for days and that they should all be last.
Yeah.
So it comes back down to how would we appoint this person in charge?
I don't know who that person would be. Maybe Lethal B because he sort of coined the idea. But who do you think would be least likely to be on this idea of like obviously the
like who do you think would not be on it?
Yeah.
Boy.
As I said,
who do you think would be like least?
As I said, it's all down to the beef and the politics of who's got beef with who.
You know what, I'll be honest, yeah, I think any artist that, because as fans, yeah, we only know what we see. We don't know what artists are planning or what they might have, like, oh yeah, within a year I want to hit here and then there. So if you're an artist, I'd say the people that wouldn't be on it would be the artists that genuinely think that they have a realistic chance of touring the world on their own world tour without the need for all these other artists in the near future. So if you're an artist thinking I could do a world tour in the next 18 months to 2 years, so why do I need to do this? Is there anyone in the
UK that could really do that though?
I think the only person who's done that is so far as LMA. She's doing it. Georgia Smith is about to do it. It's more of like the singers that are doing it. This is what I'm
saying. We're all talking about.
Dave and AJAY have done it in Toronto and in North America.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, does Georgia Smith and singers and that, are they part of this world tour?
I feel like definitely.
Because then it gets
if you want to make the most money, then they have to.
I feel like our R&B scene as well doesn't get appreciated. Like LMA even said it the other day. She said, if my song Booed Up did get played in the UK, she wouldn't think it would have got as much plays and streams as it would have in the US. And I agree with that. So I feel like it's about supporting one another and making sure the fans understand, you know what, like, forget supporting that artist because their thing is getting played from the US. They're from our country. There's someone from our city that is doing positive things. I think rather than just choosing the genres of who's doing what or the genres in general, mix it up. Mix it up and bring.
You don't have to just do one night in each city.
Also, though, you know, the more you mix up, you also got to remember, like, the more blinks you have, the more the harder it will be for the show to pop off.
And it needs to make sense. It needs to make sense.
Yeah, like if 1 minute you're bringing out Georgia Smith, but then Jammer and them man come out for a mad set, like it's not gonna run. But you know what I mean. So like, the more variety you have, the harder it is.
And it depends.
For it to hit.
It depends on the crowd as well.
Yeah.
Are you going for a crowd that just want hype and mosh pits?
Exactly. Like,
so
what
this
are we
is
trying
where
to achieve?
this is where the main criteria hits for the target audience. Are you going for a target audience that are young, hippie, or young people that are into
for a target audience
crazy?
That are going to spend the money.
We're going for people that got money in their wallet.
Yeah, but still, so it's just about who you bring on and who's got the bangers that will keep the consistency of the levels like mosh pitting going on and that, or what type of style it is.
I'll tell you what would be good to look at. You see, the Red Bull
Culture Clash.
That was a good example of obviously a mixture of different genres clashing. Fun. And obviously that was, where was that? Was that O2 they done that?
No, that was I think it was a Copper Arena on Stratford.
Wherever it was, there was bare people there. Yeah. I remember seeing the video, there was bare people there, innit? And they were all going mad for hours.
So who would you bring together if the grand finale? You got the power in your hands.
What if this was happening like tomorrow?
Like I said, if
London,
I was organising it and I was in charge of that grand finale
for London,
it wouldn't be a set thing though. It wouldn't be a set time. It would be bangers. So,
but who would you bring? As I said,
the grand finale?
Yeah.
Do you know? Okay, the final song I think should end this tour
for the London.
Yeah, this is the very last song that they hear after so many dates, so many cities.
Why is the last song so important to you?
Nah, man, it is because you know why? Because I went Giggs' show. Yeah, when I went Giggs' show, it was so crazy. Like, I feel like I robbed Giggs because I paid £20 for that ticket, but I got about £200 worth of value. It was nuts, and why it was nuts. It was crazy. Like, it was crazy because he did KMT. Obviously, that shut it down. But what gassed me was when it got to the end. I was in, like, as a Giggs super fan. I was like, bruv, I beg you don't do KMT. Like, I love KMT a lot, but I want to end on Whipping. Like, that's the anthem. That's your fully anthem, innit? And when he ended on Whipping Excursion, like, the reaction in that room was crazy. Like, it was just mad. Watch the videos on social. So it was so mad that for that reason, it just made me so aware, like, Rav, you can close off your set with a mad memorable moment like that, it definitely sticks in people's mind. I know I ain't forgetting that moment in a while. So
shout out the big man Gigs. Though.
yeah,
Aye,
following
Gigs.
on from my little speech, it'll be Gigs. Gigs
Bruh.
Ripping Excursion for me would be the last song that people hear in the grand finale on the London show. What would be you man's last song
Woo! I think Skepta Shutdown.
as the final song?
I think it's meaningful. Plus, people tend to forget that tune brought the unity of London so strong in 2015. It basically broke a lot of boundaries within the UK market, the charts, and it charted, even got high on the charts in Whippet Excursion. And Drake bigged up the freaking song at Wireless.
Yeah, he's got his
And he's
little
got his
tag on
own.
the front
He's
of
got
it,
the own, and he's got own cosigner tag on there, which for me that's monumental. Like, cool, okay, Drake's from out of country, but the guy basically has a British passport. Let's just say, and he's
He's
basically a
got the tattoos to
Londoner.
prove it, cuz.
Yeah, but for someone like
Oh,
that to
dude.
be approved from like someone like Kim with multi-million followers, bruv, it's monumental. And what Skepta is as an artist today as well, I feel like, okay, him and Giggs have done what's amazing, and I think those two especially have broke the boundaries in the US scene and US market. But Skepta's not just done that, he's broken into the fashion scene. He's broken into stuff where people in Africa are appreciating who he is as an artist. Like, he's just got the whole thing popping off, and I feel like Skepta's the icon for that. Like, when you talk about Skepta, you talk about SKS, you talk about London Fashion Week, you talk about ASAP Rocky, you talk about Playboy Carti. Like, Giggs, okay, he's got Drake and all of that type of stuff here, but Drake, like Giggs,
is alright.
No,
It's
come
good,
on.
but it's not
I'm
quite
not saying
Carlin,
Giggs is
like.
alright. That's nonsense. Because Giggs collaborated with US artists way before anyone else did. Let's not forget, he's done
Like
stuff
Waka Flocka and
with Waka
stuff
Flocka,
like that.
B.O.B.
He had the mixtape with Who Kid.
Yeah, Joe Ortiz as
That
well.
was like 5 years ago.
Joe
now.
Ortiz. So let's not forget, Giggs was one of the first guys to break into that sector alongside Tiny Temper. But as I said, now
No, just as a side note, I feel like Tiny needs to be on this tour.
Yeah, oh yeah,
His bangers
110%.
are crazy.
For sure, like Tiny's another person who definitely needs to be on there. But what I'm saying overall, I feel like Skepta in this modern generation of who he is as an artist, definitely.
I hear what you're saying with Skepta's influence, but for me, just because he's the one who coined the idea, and if it was to come to fruition, it would be because of him in a big part. So it's got to be Pal for me. And with Pal, yeah, he can do his verse, and the people who had original verses on there, if they happen to be there, which they probably won't be because obviously that was time ago. But then everyone
Would you
can
do the 2011 version as well?
You can do every.
Do you know what'd be
verse.
so
You can
cheeky? Do
Just
you know
put the
what'd be so
instrumental on
cheeky?
and let people spray.
Do you know?
and
Yeah.
end the
Do you know
show
what'd be
like
so
that.
cheeky? You could do that.
And I'll
But
take my little cup
have you
once this
seen-
idea pops.
Have you seen the tweet that Lethal said? I might who wants to hear a 2018 version
Yeah,
of
I
Pal?
did see that.
And then someone
But-
said it has to have Skepta and Stormzy and Dizzy on
And
it.
everyone.
Yeah.
Like the big boy of them. And that's
So
what I'm saying.
that
Just
would
drop
make
the
sense.
instrumental. He can do obviously the chorus, and then whoever's bring everyone out on the stage who's at that show, give them a mic, pass the mic, everyone spray, and they're like their bars. DEE's there, of course. I don't care. I'm not going to the show if DW ain't there. He does his thing, and then that's how you end the show. Fireworks, all
Right.
that. Bow, fire.